This is the peakcast presented by Strive 365, where we strive to eliminate childhood trauma while equipping youth to become resilient and better our community. We discuss social and emotional issues affecting today's time while bringing you experienced leaders to discuss diverse topics in a fun and informative way.
Strive 365 coming to you all the way live. Once again, guys, thank you for listening. Here with my wonderful co-host, the great John Paul. Today, we have a very special guest, someone who has really made a difference in the community of Milwaukee for a very long time. I'll just go ahead and introduce her, Dr. Vicki Martin, the president of MATC, the 10th president of MATC. Dr. Martin has really been involved with this community for a long time, just continues to give back, has been a leader for a long time. And one thing that I think is the most amazing thing is that you've continued to build more leaders under you. So that's why today's episode is actually called Leader and the Ladder, because you've climbed a ladder to reach where you are, but you're also helping others climb their ladder as well. MATC, for anyone who doesn't know, is Milwaukee Area Technical College, and they have been around for an amazing 108 years. Who can say that their establishment has been around for 108 years? So I'm going to give the floor to Dr. Martin if you want to introduce yourself and brag a little bit about your accomplishments for us. And
Sure. Sure. Well, good morning, and I really appreciate you having me on. We are so proud to partner with Strive 365. And it's been mainly through our automotive program and working with Dr. Brandon Curry with our students and our staff. So I want to talk a little bit about what makes MATC so special. And it's more than we've been around for so long. And it's scary that I've been around for about a quarter of that time at the institution. So to start off, we are the most diverse and we're the largest two-year college in our state. We have about 35,000 students attending annually, and approximately 58% of those students are students of color. We are really known for the small class sizes that we offer and led by expert instructors who have that industry experience. And we're open access. That means we serve all students who come to us. We have over 170 programs that prepare our students for those in-demand careers that employers are really looking for. And the great part of it is we're affordable. Our tuition is a fraction of a public four-year university. And for eligible students, if you're part of the MATC Promise program, that means free tuition. So we're one of 5 Wisconsin Tech colleges that offers a 4-year transfer degree. And we're really proud of that because we have over 40 transfer partnerships and even guaranteed admissions agreements with Wisconsin's top public and private partners, such as UW-Milwaukee, UW-Madison, and Marquette University, just to name a few. And we're starting a new relationship. The first founding university, Lakeland University, will offer those transfer courses for students to earn their bachelor's degree right on campus, or they can do it virtually given our COVID environment. What's really great too is that 94% of our students who are looking to start a career are employed within the first 6 months because we're offering those high demand programs. And most of our students come from our community and they stay in our community, which means there's no brain drain. Our average age of our student is 30. And so you can imagine most of those students are working, they've got families. And so that means most of them, 90%, are attending part-time. So we're growing opportunities for students to connect with internships, apprenticeships, co-ops, and jobs in their field while they're in school. And that gives them a head start to start earning income and get the experience they need to really start them off to a great future. As you mentioned before, I have been in Milwaukee for a long time because I was born and raised here. I'm also a first-generation college student. My parents did not attend college. And you also mentioned something really important, and that's about mentoring. And I have been the beneficiary of having really great mentors and supporters who helped me throughout my career. And it started while I was in high school. I thought I was going to be a secretary. In those days, they call it secretary, not administrative assistant. And my parents didn't, as I said, go to college. So I thought that the path for a young woman was to go into a different field. But my bosses said to me, obviously, you're not very good at typing or any of the other things that need to happen for you to be a good secretary. But you seem to have some intelligence. So why don't we get you into college? And that was a new experience, but they actually took a day off of work. They took me up to UW La Crosse, showed me around, helped me fill out the FAFSA, which is the financial application, so I could attend college. My parents were also economically disadvantaged, so I was able to get my 4 years of college paid for through FAFSA, which really helped make a difference. And that experience of mentoring and all throughout my career really made a difference for me. And I know that's what drives me today, is just to think about how I can help others. And it's been the basis of what I've always wanted to do, which was to be a counselor. And so I started out with counseling in my career. And as I started at MATC, I really realized that this was the perfect mission that fit for me. It really matched who I was as a person. I saw a lot of students who really weren't prepared, weren't ready, had a lot of life hardships, and didn't think they could be successful. And they didn't think they could afford to go to school. So to have them come to MATC, see them be successful, have great careers, or transfer and then have a great career was really rewarding for me. So I've worked at MATC, oh my gosh, I'm in my 31st year. And whether I was serving as a vice president for one of our campuses or leading academics as our provost, and then really taking on most of the college as the executive vice president, I've always kept a focus on what's really important, and that's our students. Being at the college for as long as I've been, I've also had a key understanding of what really works well and where we really need to make changes. And so that's just some of the background.
One word that really, when you look at your mission, and you touched on too, and JP and I talk about this all the time, and I'm not from Milwaukee or Wisconsin, I'm from North Carolina. So when I came here, the reason I was really drawn to come here was Marquette Law School, but mainly because I saw there was a community that looked like a family that wanted to always work together. And that's one of the words in your mission. I'm going to read the mission of MATC real quick. Our mission: education that transforms lives, industry, and community. That's one of Strive's biggest goals as well, is we want to serve the community. That a lot of people don't think about serving their community first. They look to grow out and look outside. But if you take care of home first, then everything else gets taken care of. And that's been MATC's goal for such a long time. And giving these kids an opportunity allows them to grow the community.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And this mission really resonates with our folks internally. When you see a student starting out at our institution and maybe they've had a lot of complexity or difficulties that they've had to deal with, and I know we're going to talk about facelifts in a minute. But when you see that and you see the transformation that happens when they start gaining the confidence and the skill sets and the knowledge that they really need to be successful, and they start realizing that the past does not define their future, what a difference it makes. And so when we get to see our students being transformed and we get to see the difference it makes for our community, it's really inspiring.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So thank you for telling us about you and your passions. So now we're going to the phase we like to call facelifts. So faces is our key values that we have over here at Strive 365. What they mean is F is foster resilience, A is acting with empathy, C is cultivating change, E is establish trust, and S is serve youth. And that's what we do here at Strive 365 with our partners. Can you provide a time when you have used one of our values in your life or when you are working your professional career? When have you used FACES?
Yes, I think this is just really great, and I love the acronym because I think that's really what we're seeing on a daily basis, and that's the thing that really motivates me the most, and why I became a counselor. It's really about making that difference with our students. Empathy is really about that listening well and understanding where the student is coming from, understanding what they're facing in life. I know that this is the stuff that makes the difference, but when you look at counseling, and that was my first, as I mentioned, my first career on career choices. That's the thing that we're doing with our students all the time, is really finding out what are their interests, their passions, their skills, what is it that they really want to accomplish in life, and what do they want to have as their career, and helping them through that process is absolutely rewarding. Um, when I think about making changes at our institution, to make sure that the students get what they really need, that student experience that really makes the difference for them, where they feel welcome and where they belong, it's really about organizational change. And that really requires all of these actions and probably more. And I know that major change efforts can really be daunting. And as I've risen up the ladder at MATC, I know that any change takes decades of focused efforts, collaborative practice, and dedicated learning to really make those improvements. And that's really what we ask from our students, right? We ask them to take the time and the commitment, the dedication, but we have to build that trust with them to begin with, that relationship. That relationship building is like everything, because if we can have those good conversations where we're really having empathy and really understanding where they're at, we're going to start developing good relationships and trust, where they believe that we are going to do a good job and that we are leading them in the right direction. I know that change requires that intentional disruption, and it takes a team approach. And so helping students to understand how they need to work together. And so in many of our classes, we teach them how to be good teammates to each other, and how to develop those relationships with their classmates. That's a lot of what we do. That transformation change that requires everyone to contribute and co-create together. And when you think about what happens in classrooms and what happens in the work world, this is really what is needed. That communication skill, that building trust, that resilience to work through problems when things get really, really tough. One of the big pieces of organizational change that really required all of these things is when we really launched our MATC Promise program, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later and more in depth. But just starting something new, we were the first in the state to do it. You can just imagine what that took in terms of that change process, building the trust, giving the resilience, building the empathy, cultivating the environment for change, and it really comes together when you have a team that is committed and devoted and can see the end goal, which is so important for our students. They've got to see the end goal. They've got to understand what's coming. And so that's a really important part of what we try to do in our organization, by working collaboratively, by focused in on our goals as part of our strategic plan. You mentioned our mission statement. That's what we put a plan together to work towards that mission, to accomplish that, so that we make sure we're doing it all the time. We had another effort that was bigger than that had to be scaled up, and that's a national effort around equity, which is called our Moonshot for Equity. It's a national initiative when you consider the equity issues that our city and our region have, that by working together with other 2- and 4-year institutions, looking at those key deliverables that have to happen to eliminate equity gaps in our region, that requires that building of trust, working together in ways that we haven't worked before, about really listening to each other and understanding what the needs are of our students, but also of our employees. And so that's what we think are some of the examples of how you would use facelifts.
And I see, I don't want to leave out the whole team that's on here as well. I see how dedicated you guys are to working together and collaborating. You have a good amount of your team members listening as well here, so we appreciate them being on as well. It just shows the dedication they have towards working together on anything, So we appreciate all of you guys who are on here as well. So as we were kind of talking about the difference you've made towards this community of Milwaukee, can you kind of touch on how you've impacted the community of Milwaukee, and especially how you've used your platform for such a long time? You've been a leader. How are you using your platform to benefit? There's a lot of leaders who sometimes make it to the top and just decide, oh, I'm here, I don't really need to use this platform for anything, I'm successful. But you're using that platform to bring more success to others who are going to also make a difference.
Well, I think when you get into these change efforts, you realize it's a journey, that the work is never really done. And if you really believe in learning like I do, you always know there's more to learn. And I'm lucky to have such a great team around me, because we learn from each other every day. And as I mentioned before, when you listen to others, you start realizing you don't have all the answers and you need to work together. But one thing that really drives me is our mission and the work that we do. That's one of the reasons I'm so committed to MATC. I always tell people, if I'm having a bad day, I walk out into the hallway and I just look at our students when they were there. That was before COVID, and just marveled at how they were able to come to school, because I know they're working, they've got families, they've got so much going on in their lives, and yet they want a better life for themselves. And they've come to us to make sure that they're going to get it. And it's up to us to make sure that they get what they came for. So that's what we're doing. We're helping students to earn a family supporting wage, and we're building that pipeline of talent for local employers. I mean, what a great mission, what a great purpose. And if you really think about it, an MATC graduate will earn an additional $400,000 in their lifetime, compared to someone who just got a high school diploma alone. And, if they transfer and get a 4-year degree, they'll at least double that lifetime income. So we really believe that education is the way out of poverty, that it's the way to really establish a good life-sustaining wage for folks in our community. And that's how we really know we're going to make a difference. There's no question in my mind that that's exactly what we're doing. And our students who graduate prove it to us. Our alumni tell us this all the time. So we know it's true. And we know that the MATC promise, is having a positive impact as well.
Awesome. And it's funny you say that too, because there's so many people I know in my community that has gone to MATC, and after they graduate college or after they graduate high school, they don't know where to go. Like, they don't know what they want to do in life yet, because they're so young still. And after a couple of years of just working, they're like, I'm ready to go back to college. Where do I need to go to? And they're always like, oh, MATC, that's where I can get my foot in the door, get back into school. And that's why I think you said the average age was 30. And I believe that a lot of my friends are now at like that 27, 28 age range, going back to school. So definitely I appreciate MATC being that platform to get students comfortable to going back to school. Speaking of with Strive 365, and we're a trauma-informed organization, what are some steps that you guys are doing at MATC to help build your staff to be more educators on social emotional learning when you're working with like other students?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we offer courses for instructors on topics like cultural competence, creating a trauma-sensitive classroom. And these tools really help students embed diversity concepts throughout their teaching and recognize the effects of trauma experienced by the students that they have in their classrooms. Also, some of these tools help educators to avoid re-traumatizing students by recognizing the signs and developing those trauma-informed classrooms. So as a college, we focused our professional development on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the key in our work is to serve all of our learners. It's also critically important to note that we have licensed professional counselors that serve our students, and we've grown that team recently. We also have links to community-based organizations that we partner with if we need to do referrals. So those are just some of the things that we've been working on.
By the way, guys, I just want you to know, if it's ever a good question, I wrote it. If it's a bad question, you wrote it. So, just so we clarify that. We talked a little bit, well, you jumped into a little bit, but this is a huge thing, the MATC Promise program. Can you kind of just touch on it? I know it's a huge thing to talk about, and we could go on for days about it. And it's gotten a lot of national attention as well. Just for anyone who doesn't know, we've had a lot of people that aren't just in the Milwaukee community, not even just Wisconsin, but outside. National attention the MATC Promise program has gotten has been tremendous. So if you just want to talk a little bit about it for our viewers, tell what it is, how effective it's been, and how it's really gonna continue to be a big part of the community of Milwaukee.
Right. So when I first learned about free tuition for students, I had a call from one of the news outlets, and they said, "What do you think about this new idea?" And I said, "Oh, I love it. I just don't know how to fund it." And so I had listened to the state of Tennessee, whose governor had used lottery dollars to help fund it, and I knew that we were not going to get any lottery dollars to help fund it unless I bought a lottery ticket myself and won, and then I could fund it. But that wasn't going to happen. So what we really looked at is, gee, who's not coming to our school that should be? And it was students who were economically disadvantaged and thought they could not afford to go to college. So part of our relationship with M Cubed, which is Milwaukee Public Schools, UW Milwaukee, and of course us, MATC, the three large public urban institutions, we had a conversation about why weren't we getting the students in our pipelines that we really thought should be coming to us, and the numbers that we thought should be coming. So having that conversation, we looked at all the students who were getting free lunch, and we said, oh my gosh, 50% of the students are not coming here. And we just thought we need to change that. We need to make a difference in our community. And so we launched this program, and I did not want to wait. I didn't want to wait and lose another class of seniors who could come and take advantage of this. So we did launch it in 145 days, which apparently is a record, but we were happy to do so. Not that it was perfect, but we kept improving as time went on. So we launched in 2015, and this is a free tuition for eligible students. And then in 2018, Tennessee also had this program for adult students to come back to school. And when we saw how many folks in our community, 135,000 residents in Milwaukee County had some college but did not have a credential, we thought this was the perfect time to launch an adult promise. So we did that in 2018. Free tuition again for eligible students. But what this requires, as I said before, is funding. And so it does require a public-private partnership, and we were really fortunate to have Chris Abley and many other donors support this scholarship, and they filled that gap between what the tuition costs and what the aid covers. So students must meet some income qualifications, which is what I had mentioned before, economically disadvantaged, and some academic ones, including having a 2.0 grade point average for new high school graduates. So far, we've served nearly 2,000 eligible students, and we're seeing strong rates of success. More Promise students stay with us between the fall and spring semester than what we see among their peers. And for the first three high school Promise cohorts, in 2016, 17, and 18, the graduation rates were more than double of their peers. So our Promise programs are designed to create access, tear down those barriers, open up the doors for college for students who never thought it was possible for them to attend. And we've put in a lot of support services to help them succeed.
That's awesome. And yeah, having those resources available, like I said in my previous example, has provided students with those opportunities, giving them, those 2-year degrees to go into the workforce to provide for their families right away.
And a lot of times, JP, a lot of those students, they don't believe they even have an opportunity. They're so beat down from their everyday lives that they believe, oh man, this is an opportunity I don't even know exist. So when it's given to them, it helps them overcome something that they've never been able to overcome, and it's something that really pushes them over the top. And it's amazing that they get this opportunity. A lot of kids don't. Growing up myself, there's a lot of kids who didn't have the opportunities or didn't know about it because they didn't have resources. So when you get these resources, it really, really allows you to reach your peak.
Right. And Dr. Martin, so let me ask you this. How do you see the relationship with MATC and Strive 365 to grow and benefit Milwaukee together collaboratively?
Oh, well, it's, I mean, Strive is just so great. There's so many benefits to being with Strive because what I mentioned before is having those community resources are just really critical. And so if you really think about what Strive has done to help with that trauma-informed care, they worked with some of our students in our auto program and also with some of our other advisors to really help listen to what the students are experiencing, helping our faculty and staff to understand what really needs to occur. And that has really made a difference. Dr. Brandon Curry, I have to say, really, really did a great job. So many of our students and the students that Strive 365 serve are in similar circumstances. We have those common goals of building resilience as we educate our students, that listening piece, that empathy piece that I just mentioned, making sure that we're bringing that trauma-informed care into our programming, as I mentioned before, is key. I have to tell you, I know Dr. Curry. He's just really great. He's very inspiring. I'm hoping that we can expand Dr. Curry's reach, especially with a program that we have, and you mentioned it earlier, between the three institutions with M-Cubed, with MPS and UWM, we've started an early college program. And I have to tell you, many of those students that the counselors reached out to who thought they were college material ready to go in high school, we're like, no, I'm not ready. I can't do it. And it's for all the reasons that you guys just talked about. And so when they actually got into the courses, got the support, understood that they were more than capable of accomplishing it, got the trauma support that they needed, and other issues that were dealt with around food and housing insecurities, that's when we really saw them blossom and believe that they could go and be successful in college. And they all attended. And some of them decided to go on to some Ivy League schools or historically Black colleges. I mean, it was just amazing to see them blossom. And Dr. Curry's work and Strive 360, what a difference. I think by working together, we can really make connecting students to those career specific and employability skills so that they're ready to start their careers on day one, transfer to that 4-year university, or do both, but just really ready to be that difference in the world that we're all seeking as well. We want to be the difference in the world. They want to be leaders. They want to have family sustaining wages. They want to make a difference for their families and their community as well. And that we're working together and we're part of it is just really rewarding.
And one interesting thing that I just put together is you and Dr. Curry had very similar paths to where you are now. Both of you started as counselors, and it's interesting to see how you guys are similar as leaders because you guys empower your whole team to become leaders. Sitting next to this guy right here, just in my short time knowing him, he's become such a great leader as well. And your staff is very similar to ours as far as how involved they are, as far as how they want the exact same goals. And it seems like you guys are very tight-knit. Everyone works together, and that's what we do here at Strive as well. So it's just very interesting to see that we have the same goals. We run our organizations kind of similar as well. So it's just interesting. So I believe it's going to be a great partnership as well, and one that's going to benefit the community. And like you said, the word rewarding. When you wake up and you know you're making a difference, nothing's more rewarding than that. So
Absolutely.
All right, Dr. Martin. So we're getting to our last phase of our podcast, and it's called Cope It Out. So COPE is one of our acronyms that we use to work with our students. It's communication, offering, positivity, and empowerment. And if you can provide us an example or a situational dive of how you've used COPE in a stressful situation in your life.
Well, I'm going to use communication and bring in empathy with that, especially around COVID. So, given all the stress that we're feeling, especially now when the rates of hospitalization and just those who are contracting is so high right now, I think it's really important as we're communicating around COVID to really lead with empathy. That's really a key piece, and that sharing that we know it's a difficult time for everyone, that we care about everyone's well-being, that it's our humanity that ties us together and helps us to get through this, and also that sense of hope for the future is so important, because you have to look beyond. If you just deal with the day-to-day suffering that we're seeing, and just watching the news every night, it can get pretty depressing, and it's hard to keep going. But you've got to offer them hope for a better future, that we're going to get through this, and that we're going to get through this together, and to make sure that we're as transparent as we can possibly be as we're communicating to those around us. So whether it's a one-on-one with our team and our staff, whether it's our team and having more fun and finding ways to really understand what people are experiencing. Part of Zoom is you get to see into people's lives and homes, and you get to see their pets, you get to see their children, spouses, family members. And so we get to connect on a very different level. And I think then we get to listen and understand each other much better. And I think that makes us stronger as teams and more resilient to be able to move forward.
Absolutely key during these times. And I enjoyed you talking about the communication part, because a lot of people don't know what's going on. A lot of people think they just watch the news or hear something that's going on, but it's great that you guys are communicating, because a lot of times as students, you're fearful of what's going on, but having leaders tell you and your and the people who are the most important telling you, hey, this is actually what's going on, listen to us, that probably puts them at ease. So that's great that you guys are doing that. So we're now down to the last part of this podcast. This is a moment for you to really get anything you want out. So it's called Shout It Out. We're going to give you 30 seconds, Dr. Martin, and you can shout out anything you want. It's a 30-second promotion. It could be of MATC, Promise Program, anything you want. JP has the timer. He doesn't play around with the time, but I think he might let you go a little over. So your 30 seconds starts now, and you can shout out anything you want. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
So MATC is a very special place for our students, and it serves our community so well. Our mission, as we stated earlier, is to transform lives, industry, and community, and we're doing just that. Our vision is to be the best choice in education where everyone can succeed, and we really believe that. This is the place to come and to really have your life change for the better. And we know that by the systems and processes we have in place, that you will succeed. And our values include being empowered. We support our students and employees with the skills, tools, and autonomy to lead. We have inclusion. We have respect. We do so many great things for our community by working with business and industry and our community-based partners for the sake of improving equity in our city, for our students, for our staff, and for the betterment of our community and our region and our state and our nation. And we are so proud to be employed, and I'm proud to lead this institution.
Awesome. Dr. Martin, I think I was like 1 minute, but I think with all the extra guests we have in here, you guys got that extra time to do those extra shout outs. So thank you so much for being here with us. And we look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Same here. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martin. And everyone, thank you for listening. Another great episode, and you guys really will learn that once you become a leader, It's not just about making it to the top, it's a ladder. So always remember the process, and remember that there's people that are going to follow you to the top of the ladder. And it's your job as well, and responsibility and duty, to help those young people and those individuals who want to also reach their peak, that you have the ability and the responsibility to help them as well. So, leader in the ladder, thank you, Dr. Martin. Really appreciate you. And thank you guys so much.